Hello guys, thank you for joining me. I'll be showing you how to cut two different types of sleeve. One is pleated and the other one is flay, right? So they are both attached to a straight sleeve pattern, right? So I'll be using my pattern paper, but you can do this directly on fabric. Guys, please don't forget to subscribe, like and leave a comment. So if you don't know how to draft your basic sleeve, I'll drop the link in the comment section. I'll pin it there so you can check it out, right? So we'll be starting off with the first one now. So this is my pattern. The seam allowance is already added. Okay, I've added seam allowance to this. So this is my full sleeve. I added 1 inch seam allowance. Okay, so this is my 1 inch seam allowance, for instance. Okay, so now what I will do now is to come in from before my seam allowance, I'll come in 1 inch. Okay, so I'll mark this 1 inch here. So this is where I'll be marking. Okay, so when I want to sew, I'll start sewing from here. Okay, that's after I've joined my sleeve. So what I'll do now is to come up how high do you want the design to start from? Where do you want? So this will be either a net or a chantilly lace fabric. Okay, or you can use any fabric of choice anyway. So now let me do 6 inches. I'll come up 6 inch. Okay, so from this 6 inch now, I'll connect to this 1 inch here. So let me bring it high a little more. So I did 7 inches. So I'll mark my seam allowance. I'll mark my seam allowance. So this is my seam allowance for the joining. Okay, please do well to mark your seam allowance. What I'll cut this part out, and then you can see what we have. So this is what we have here. Okay, so you can see how I placed it on bias. I folded it on bias, not straight. Okay, on the cross. On bias is also on the cross. So this is my top. Okay, so what I'll do now is to move it this way. Can you see? So I'm moving it this way. So what I will do is, so if you want it fuller, you bring it some more. So it depends on how full you want it. Okay, so this is what I'm doing. I'll pin this part here. Remember, this is my center front. Please, this is my center front, so the side should be around this side. Okay, so I'll pin it down. Okay, and then I'll add my seam allowance here also. Remember, we added seam allowance to add, so the seam allowance, the joining allowance, I'll add it here. And then because this is Ankara fabric, we'll be folding the hem inch or ½ inch for folding. Okay, but I will just leave it like this because I won't be sewing it, so I will just show. It's just for illustration purpose. Okay, so do well to add your seam allowance. Please do well to add your folding. If you are turning with lining, you add whatever. If you are folding or you are turning with lining, okay, make sure you add your seam allowance. So what I'll do now is to cut. So let me cut together with my seam allowance. Let's say I added ½ inch seam allowance. So you can see. So I'll keep this now aside. So this is the net I'll be using, and then I'll place my pattern. Okay, I'll place my pattern. You can also do this, guys. You can do this directly on your fabric. Okay, you can also do this straight to the point on your pattern, on your fabric. But just remember to add your seam allowance where necessary. I'll cut this part out. Okay, so if I wasn't using pattern paper, so this part that I cut out is what I will use to cut this flay. I will do it the same thing. I will just place it like this and I'll cut. And so if I was supposed to turn with lining, now what I will do first of all is to turn with lining. Remember, this is, so don't mistake, this is your bottom part, this is the bottom, and this is the top. So what I will do is to cut lining and then turn it with the lining up. So if this place is sharp, make sure you blend it. So what I'll do, I would turn. If I'm weaving, I would have gone to overlock. Okay, so then I'll open. If this is my right side, If this is my right side, I'll place it like this, and then I'll flip over, and then I'll start pinning and start sewing. Okay, so you can start from here. Continue from here to this point. So once you get to this point, you come to the bottom part here, you pin it. Make sure you pin it from here so that it's going to match up. So if you continue like this all the way down, if you are sewing on the net or on the lace fabric, it might be longer. So make sure you sew on the Ankara. Okay. So I'll sew and then I'll show you the outcome. That will be all for this. So for the second one, so I'll sew and then I'll show you the outcome. So for this one, same way, you can also do the same thing directly on your fabric also. So I'll come up 6 inches also, and then this is my sewing allowance of 1 inch, like I did with the other one. This is my sewing allowance, and then I'll add my normal allowance because it's not supposed to start from the sewing allowance. So I'll add my 1 inch allowance, and then what I will do is so if you don't want it straight like this, you can also use your curve. So let me use a curve for this. So you can use curve. Okay, so also I'll add my seam allowance here. I already explained why you should add seam allowance, because you'll be joining it. Okay, so I've pinned it together. I've pinned it to the net. So what I'll do now is I will be cutting. Yes. So then I will iron. So what I will do is to pleat. So I'll pleat it like this. I'll make sure you get a long strip, okay? And the strip that you get, just make sure that by the time you place it, you'll be able to get the length of your of the pleat you want to add, the what you want to attach. So what I'll do, I'll iron and then I'll start pleating. I'll start pleating it like this. Iron it. I need it very, very iron, like well ironed. I'll iron. Make sure you use steam iron. You need a steam iron for this part. You iron it to get as much as you want. Okay, so I will do that and then we'll continue from there. Okay guys, so this is me pleating the Ankara fabric. So what you need to do now, I actually tried doing a tiny pleat, but because of the pattern of the Ankara, it wasn't very clear. So I don't know if you can see this one that I'm doing now. So the fabric is very busy, so it's not making the design very, very clear. Okay, so all you need to do is to fold and then you iron. So I'm doing I think this is a knife pleat, right? So I'm doing a pleat. So make sure you have enough fabric that will go around for both sleeves. Okay, so you iron and then you make another pleat and then you iron. So this is it. So after ironing, so guys, very, very important, before you start pleating, make sure you fold your edge. So if you are turning with lining, like I said the other time, make sure you would have finished turning with lining. And then if you are folding, make sure you fold before you start making your pleat, because it is right now we can't do anything to it. So there's nothing we can do. So what you need, make sure you finish the hem of your fabric before pleating, right? So iron, make sure that the iron is very, very hot. You use your steam iron. If you don't have steam iron, you can get a spray bottle like I'm using, and then make sure it is well ironed. Okay, so after which, what I'll do now, so this is the upper part. I will go and sew this part down. I'll sew it down just to keep it in place. You can also do this, but be sure that after doing this, we will loosen it at the end of the after attaching it. Okay, so let me go and sew, and I can just do well to pin it down if you have the time. So guys, I've ironed it down, the upper part, so I use a contrasting thread so you can see. So what you need to do now is to place them together. You fold it, just flip, and then you place, and then you get your pattern pieces, and then cut. So you can pin it down. Remember to add your seam allowance. Then you add your seam. Add your seam allowance, and then you cut. So I'm assuming I've folded the down part. So once you open now, you go and sew this edge down. Can you see what we have now? So the pleat is still intact. I'll pin it so it doesn't move. I'll go and sew it this way. Sew it this way to hold it down. So gone ahead to sew it. So you can see, I'm sure you can see the pleat now. Okay. So start from this end, here, continue to the other side. For this part, I will come to this side also. I'll match it up. So guys, this is what I have after sewing. You can see the pleat. So what I'll do now, I'll fold, and then I'll sew my 1 inch out. I'll do this. So before sewing this part, it is very, very important that you overlock the edge here. Same thing with the other flay sleeve. You can overlock the edge. After overlocking, then what you need to do is, because if you don't want, because now this is the net, now it will be showing on the right side. If you don't want to see the fabric at all on the right side, after overlocking, what you need to do is you fold it this way, iron it. You can use hem gum. You can put hem gum here to iron it down, or you use your needle and thread to tack it. Same thing how it is also. So you overlock, and then you can use your hem gum, or you tack it down neatly. But this is what we have. You can see the pleat, and then this is this flay. You can see the wrong side. So this is it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, guys. If you've gotten value from this video, please like and give us a thumbs up and leave a comment. Thank